There's something quietly unsettling about a house that feels off, but you can't quite explain why. You've cleaned, rearranged, maybe even saged the space, yet the air still feels heavy, the energy scattered. And more than once you've wondered, why does peace never fully settle here? Why does money feel like it slips through even when you're doing everything right? It's not always what's inside the home. Sometimes what's behind it is the problem. Most people focus on the front, curb appeal, security lights, flower beds, but the back of the house, that's where energy comes to rest. It's the quiet space no one talks about, yet it holds the emotional and energetic spine of your home. And when it's bare, no tree, no structure, nothing but open exposure, it's like your house has a naked back. Vulnerable, ungrounded, and without even knowing it, that invisible weakness could be draining your emotional calm, your financial, and your overall sense of security. This isn't about superstition. It's about noticing what supports you and what doesn't. Think about it. When you walk into someone's home, there's a feeling. You can sense when a space is held, protected, and you can feel when it isn't. In this video, we're going to talk about one specific thing you can plant behind your house to shift that energy. And no, it's not just a plant for good luck. It's something deeper, a living shield that holds your space from behind. For some people, it's the one thing they didn't know they were missing. So before we talk about what to plant and where to place it, let me ask you something simple. What's behind your home right now? And is it holding you or letting everything slip away? Part 1. Homes without support lose more than money. Not all homes are truly held. Some stand, some shelter, but only a few are deeply rooted, protected in a way that can be felt, not just seen. And the difference isn't in square footage, design trends, or what's inside the walls. It often starts with something most people never think about: what's behind the house. We tend to focus on the front. We decorate porches, install door cameras, sweep the steps, lay down welcome mats. The front is where guests arrive. It's where we smile and show we've got it all together. But in many ways, the front is only a mask. What matters more, what truly defines the tone of a home, is what holds it from the back. Look behind your house. Not just physically, but symbolically. Is there a wall of trees, a rise of land, a gentle frame of support? Or is it open, flat, exposed, bare? The difference may seem small, but in practice, it changes everything. When a home lacks rear support, energy doesn't settle, it scatters, and so does life. Finances fluctuate more than they should. Relationships feel less grounded. There's a subtle sense of I'm doing everything right, but it's not sticking. If that feels familiar, you're not alone. So many households across America, especially those built on flat land or in suburban grids, are unintentionally designed to push energy out the back. Think about that. You work to bring in abundance, peace, and balance, and it's quietly slipping away behind you. This isn't spiritual fluff. It's not about rituals or belief systems. It's about something much more grounded: structure, support, energy flow. If your home had a body, the back of the house would be its spine. Not the part that smiles at the world, but the part that holds everything in place. The foundation of strength. When that part is missing or left unguarded, stress seeps in. People get tired faster, plans stall, sleep isn't as deep. Money comes in but doesn't stay. Even the air inside starts to feel heavier. Maybe you felt it. You sit down at the end of the day, and instead of feeling settled, you feel drained. Not because life is overwhelming, but because your home isn't holding you the way it should. And that changes everything. Because no matter how hard you try, how organized you are, how grateful you stay, when your space isn't built to support you, you're always working uphill. This isn't about redesigning your life. It's about restoring one simple thing: the feeling of being backed, of being able to rest, to trust, to exhale. Because the space behind you isn't leaking your effort, your luck, your peace. And what creates that feeling might be simpler than you think. Sometimes all it takes is planting the right tree. In traditional architecture and environmental design, the rear of a building has always been considered sacred ground. It's not where you entertain. It's not where the party happens. It's where you rest, where energy gathers and stabilizes. In Feng Shui, this concept is visualized through the black tortoise, a strong, steady protector at your back, But even without labels or symbols, the principle is universal. We need something behind us to lean into. And in many modern homes today, that support is missing. A backyard might be open, windswept, or simply neglected. No trees, no slope, nothing to stop energy from just leaving. It's like trying to hold water in your hands. No matter how carefully you cup them, it slips through unless there's something to contain it. Now pause, think about your own space. What's the view from your back door? Does it make you feel calm or vaguely unsettled? Is there something solid behind you, or is it just sky? Again, this isn't superstition. This is about how space makes us feel and how those feelings ripple into every part of our lives. Because the truth is, we all need to feel held, not in some dramatic spiritual way, but in the most practical human sense. We need to know that something has our back, that the energy we bring into our home doesn't just bounce around, but settles, anchors, stays. And here's the shift. When your home has support behind it, everything inside starts to shift too. You feel more resilient, calmer, more confident in your own timing. Things that used to feel rushed start to unfold naturally. Financial flows begin to stabilize, not just because of luck, but because the chaos has somewhere to rest. The home becomes a container, not a funnel. We've been taught to add more candles, more crystals, more things to fix the mood. But sometimes the fix isn't another thing to bring in. It's something you plant behind, something that doesn't move, doesn't speak, doesn't sparkle, but stands, quietly, day after day, through wind, through sun, through seasons of struggle and seasons of grace. A living presence that says, "I've got you." That's the point of this conversation. It's not about trees or soil or gardening. It's about reclaiming something most of us didn't know we'd lost, the strength of being supported, the shift from feeling exposed to feeling anchored, the comfort of knowing that something, anything, is watching your back even when the rest of the world isn't. So before we dive into specific trees and placements, sit with this thought: your home deserves a spine, and so do you. Not everything that's broken needs fixing. Sometimes it just needs holding. And the back of your home, that often overlooked, empty stretch of space, might be the best place to begin. Part 2: a single tree can hold your entire home together. There are homes where everything looks in place: neatly folded towels, kitchen counters wiped clean, fresh flowers on the dining table. But the energy still feels fragile, like one unexpected bill, one harsh conversation, one restless night, and the whole thing might come undone. You wouldn't see it in the photos, but you'd feel it the second you stepped inside. What's often missing isn't a thing, it's a sense. A sensation that the house is being held, supported, grounded, and in more cases than you'd expect, that sense can be restored with something as simple as one tree. It sounds almost too small, too ordinary, but that's the beauty of it. A single tree, thoughtfully placed, can shift how your home holds energy, how you feel inside it, how money flows through it, how relationships settle within it. Because the role of that tree isn't to decorate, it's to anchor, to soften, to create a quiet wall between your home and the outside world. And most importantly, to tell your nervous system you're not exposed anymore. Think about the homes you felt safest in. Not necessarily the biggest or most expensive. Just settled, held. There was something about the backyard that made you breathe a little deeper. Something that gave the house a sense of presence, of maturity, of grounded wisdom. Often that something wasn't a swimming pool or a fire pit. It was a tree, old, quiet, standing right where it needed to be. Not showy, not demanding attention, just there. That tree doesn't just hold space physically. It holds memory, movement, emotion. It shades summers. It absorbs wind. It muffles noise. It gives shape to the sky. And when planted in the right place, specifically behind your home, it can serve as a gentle force of balance. Not because it's magical, but because it reminds your home how to stand. It creates a kind of backing, soft yet firm, alive yet still. It turns the wide, empty back of your house into something that feels protected, defined, embraced. And here's the key: it only takes one. In the world of landscaping and design, people are often told to frame their house with symmetry or fill space for beauty. But this isn't about symmetry. This isn't about looks. This is about restoring the spiritual architecture of your space. One tree, placed with intention, can turn a leaky, restless home into one that finally holds. Because when you plant a tree behind your house, you're not just adding greenery. You're building emotional structure. There's a reason so many ancient homes were built with large trees at the rear, whether on purpose or by tradition. Farmers knew it, builders knew it, grandparents knew it. Even if they never said why, that tree wasn't just for shade. It was for stillness, for protection, for calming the wind that took more than just leaves with it. In today's world, we've paved over intuition. We call it landscaping now or curb appeal, but the body still knows, it still responds. And it knows when something is watching your back and when nothing is. So what kind of tree should you plant? We'll get to that in a moment. But before choosing species or style, the deeper choice is this. What kind of energy do you want to invite into your life? Do you want resilience? Go for something strong, steady, low maintenance. Do you want softness and healing? Choose something with wide leaves, gentle curves, a calming presence. Want clarity and momentum? Find a tree that grows upright, focused, not too dense but not too fragile. This is not about what looks good on Pinterest. This is about resonance. What kind of feeling do you want to grow behind your home? Because that tree becomes a quiet companion to your life. It will witness your holidays, your quiet mornings, your arguments, your breakthroughs. It will stand during seasons when you fall apart. And it will still be there when things come back together. Its role is not to change your life overnight. Its role is to hold space while you do the work. To take in some of the static, some of the stress, some of the noise, so your home doesn't have to. There is something deeply human about planting a tree. Not for fruit, not for flowers, just for grounding. It's an act of belief, of claiming space, of saying, this house is no longer bare. It has a back, it has protection. That belief is quiet but powerful. It seeps into how you rest at night, how you speak to your partner, how your body relaxes on a Wednesday afternoon for no reason at all. You may not always notice the moment it happens, but you'll feel the shift. And it doesn't take decades. In fact, even while the tree is still small, the intention begins working. The placement, the act, the care, all of that begins sending a signal into the space around it. We are grounding now. We are holding. That's the power of living things. They don't need to be loud to change the atmosphere. They just need to be present. So if the back of your house has felt vulnerable, too quiet, too harsh, too unmoored, this is your invitation. You don't need to redo your yard. You don't need a garden overhaul. You just need one tree and a little bit of attention to where it goes. Find a spot that feels exposed. Maybe it's where the wind hits hardest, or where the energy always feels strange. Maybe it's the spot you avoid without knowing why. That's the place. That's where the imbalance is asking to be held, and that's where your tree belongs. Start small. Choose a tree that feels good to you. Something native, low maintenance, meaningful. Give it space to grow. Let it do its work. Don't stare at it waiting for change. Just know that you've planted something solid behind you, something alive, something dependable. And let yourself feel how different it is to live in a home that is no longer exposed but held. Because when your home is held, you are too. Part 3. 3 trees that protect, attract, and ground your fortune. 1. Bamboo, the invisible wall. There's something deeply comforting about having your back to a wall. It's why we choose booths over open seats in restaurants and why our favorite reading chairs are often nestled into corners. We're not trying to be paranoid, we're trying to feel secure, supported, held. That same instinct applies to your home, especially when it comes to the energy around your house and the way it either holds onto blessings or quietly lets them go. And when it comes to choosing one living element that can both guard and ground your fortune without saying a word, few trees carry that quiet strength like bamboo. At first glance, bamboo doesn't look like much. It's slim. It doesn't have a thick trunk or showy flowers. It doesn't cast heavy shadows or make people stop and admire its beauty. But that's exactly what makes it powerful. It doesn't draw attention. It draws energy. It directs it. And in the right place, especially at the back of your house, bamboo becomes something more than just a plant. It becomes an invisible wall, a living barrier between you and whatever might try to drain your peace, your stability, or your financial flow. What makes bamboo so unique isn't just its shape, it's its nature. It grows fast, it roots deep, It stands tall, but bends in storms. It doesn't snap under pressure. It doesn't fight the wind, it flows with it. That flexibility combined with quiet strength is exactly what many homes are missing. In a world that often feels chaotic and unpredictable, having something in your space that stands quietly, no matter the season, sends a message: we are held here. And yet, bamboo isn't just about feeling safe. It's about wealth, specifically keeping wealth. In many cultures, bamboo has long been associated with abundance, not because it makes you rich overnight, but because it creates the kind of environment where richness, of spirit, of mind, of resources, can grow and stay. Bamboo blocks harsh wind patterns, calms energetic chaos, and keeps the back door of your life from leaking what the front door tries to invite in. It's not a superstition, it's a support system. Imagine this: your home is a vessel. Every good thing you work for, income, peace of mind, creative ideas, harmony with loved ones, flows in. But without a structure at the back to hold it, some of that flow trickles right out. That's why some people feel like they're always chasing stability, no matter how hard they work. They're not doing anything wrong, they are just missing something behind them. Bamboo fills that space. It doesn't need attention. In fact, it does best when left alone. Its presence is more felt than seen. You won't stare at it like a garden feature. You'll feel it in how you sleep, how conversations unfold, how unexpected expenses seem to lessen, how the house itself begins to feel more anchored. And what's beautiful is that it works just by being there. No rituals, no maintenance beyond basic care, just stillness, structure, and presence. There's a reason bamboo is used as fencing in so many traditional homes. It divides without creating conflict. It protects without feeling defensive. It marks boundaries without shouting. And when planted in a line or gentle cluster behind your home, it forms a quiet wall of intention. One that says, what's good can stay and what's chaotic can move along. But here's the part people often miss. Not all bamboo is the same. If you're going to invite it into your space, choose wisely. Go for varieties that grow with grace, not aggression. Golden bamboo, for instance, offers a soft color and manageable height. Japanese timber bamboo creates vertical lines that bring a sense of order without overwhelming the space. Lucky bamboo, though not technically bamboo, is often used in pots near windows or smaller back areas to symbolically mark the intention of holding fortune. What matters more than the type, though, is how it's placed. Don't overplant. A dense forest might look lush, but in energetic terms it can feel suffocating. Instead, think of it as setting up a rhythm like the quiet beat behind a piece of music. Enough to be present. Not so much that it drowns everything out. Leave space between stalks. Let air move through, and always keep it alive and healthy. Dead or dying bamboo behind a house is like a cracked foundation. It sends the wrong message and holds the wrong energy. Planting bamboo is not a shortcut to wealth. It's a way to hold the wealth you already have and the peace that comes with it. It reminds the house and you that not everything needs to be forceful to be strong. That sometimes the most protective thing in your life is the one that doesn't say a word, but never lets you fall. And maybe that's the deeper point. In a culture that glorifies hustle, noise, and visibility, bamboo offers something different. A quiet presence, a loyal stance, a flexible strength. It doesn't ask for recognition. It simply stays where it's needed most, at your back. So if you've ever felt like your home has no buffer, if the back of your house feels like an exit for everything good, or if you've simply been craving a deeper sense of stability and protection without even knowing why, this may be the time. The time to find a corner behind your home, clear the space, and plant something that will stand there for you when nothing else can. Because when the storms come, and they always do, there's a difference between a home that breaks and a home that bends. Bamboo teaches us the value of that difference. And once it's planted, it doesn't just grow roots in the soil. It grows roots in you. 2. Bay laurel, the mind clearer. Some trees don't grow to impress. They don't tower. They don't sprawl. They don't bloom in dramatic colors. But what they offer is far more lasting: clarity, calm, quiet strength. In a world of constant noise and overstimulation, the bay laurel doesn't shout to be seen. It simply clears the air, literally and emotionally. If bamboo is the wall that guards your energy, bay laurel is the open window that lets your mind breathe. Planted behind your house, or even along its edges, it becomes a steady companion for those seasons of decision fatigue, mental fog, or quiet internal questioning. Because the truth is, we all face moments when we can't hear ourselves think. And more often than not, it has nothing to do with how much we're doing, but how scattered our space feels. That's where the bay laurel comes in. Known for its glossy green leaves and soft, unobtrusive presence, this plant has carried spiritual and practical significance for centuries. Ancient scholars wore crowns made from its branches not for status, but for focus. In homes, its very presence brings a certain stillness to the air, a sense that thoughts can land gently without rushing or bumping into one another. When planted at the back of the home, it doesn't just decorate the space, it redefines its rhythm. What sets bay laurel apart isn't what it adds, it's what it clears away. Heavy thoughts, lingering indecision, subtle mental clutter that makes even small tasks feel exhausting. You may not always notice the shift in the moment, but you'll begin to find more pauses in your day. Less reaction, more response. Less noise, more space between the thoughts. That is the mark of a home that supports your mind, not just your body. In many American homes, especially for those who work from home or carry the invisible weight of caretaking, parenting, or simply being the emotional center of the household, the mind becomes a constant container, holding schedules, memories, conversations, and anxieties all at once. But the mind, like any container, has limits. It can overflow, and when it does, we lose clarity. We make rash decisions. We forget what we were trying to remember. We feel easily defeated. That's not a flaw. It's just a signal that your space may not be supporting your mind the way it could. The bay laurel answers that signal not with force, but with frequency. Its scent, mild, clean, just slightly peppery, is known for clearing energy fields, supporting respiratory flow, and symbolically wiping the slate clean. Even if you don't believe in energy work, there's something undeniably refreshing about walking past a bay tree and catching that soft herbal note in the breeze. It centers you quietly, and that matters. Because clarity isn't just for poets or monks, it's for real people in real homes who are trying to make the best decisions they can while holding too much at once. If your house is the place where you budget, plan, heal, navigate family dynamics, build dreams, and recover from disappointments, your mind deserves a little support too. Not in the form of another app or productivity tool, but something older, something rooted, something alive. Placing a bay laurel tree behind your home is not about perfection. It's about protection of your mental bandwidth. It's saying this house holds space for thinking clearly. This backyard is not just functional, it's intelligent. It's not about image, it's about impact. And that impact can be felt in the simplest of ways. A tough conversation that goes better than expected, a moment of insight during morning coffee, a new idea emerging after weeks of stagnation. The beauty of the bay laurel is that it doesn't demand ideal conditions. It grows gracefully without sprawling. It can handle different kinds of soil, adjusts to light levels, and still stays evergreen. That resilience makes it a perfect match for modern life, where things aren't always tidy, where your yard may not be perfect, where plans shift and space is limited. This tree doesn't need you to be consistent. It just needs a little intention and a place to root. And the return on that care is subtle but powerful. Over time, a healthy bay tree doesn't just stand there, it watches over the home. It reminds you that growth doesn't have to be loud and that wisdom doesn't come in a rush. It accumulates quietly like the slow release of tension from your shoulders after a long day. That's not coincidence. That's coherence between your inner world and the outer one you live in. For those who are sensitive to emotional currents, who absorb the mood of a household, who feel anxious without knowing why, the bay laurel brings regulation. It acts like a tuning fork for the energy around it, bringing the tone down, guiding the tempo back to something manageable. And when that tree is placed in the right spot, especially in the back third of your yard or near your home office window. It does more than calm the eye. It calms the nervous system. And perhaps most surprisingly, the bay laurel also attracts the right kind of people. It carries the kind of frequency that supports clear communication, mutual respect, and balanced interactions. Not through magic, but through influence. Because when you are clearer, others feel it, and they respond in kind. The better you feel in your own space, the better energy you emit, and the better experiences you attract. In that way, the bay laurel is more than just a mind clearer. It's a relationship clarifier, a decision supporter, a mental sanctuary. And again, you only need one, planted with care, given sunlight and space, trusted to do what it has done for generations, support the unseen parts of life that are often the most important. So if your home feels mentally noisy, if your thoughts feel stacked and tangled, if the people you love are constantly under pressure to figure it all out without enough stillness to do so, consider planting a bay laurel behind the house. Not as a statement piece, not as a trend, but as a quiet agreement between you and your space. Here we protect clarity. Here the mind is not left to carry everything alone, because in a world that's always rushing you to decide, solve, explain, and push forward, clarity isn't a luxury. It's a form of protection. And sometimes all it takes is one tree to remind your home and your heart of that truth. 3. Banana tree, the gentle curtain. Some trees guard, some ground. But the banana tree does something quietly profound. It soothes, not with force or grandeur, but with presence. If bamboo is the shield and bay laurel is the compass, the banana tree is the gentle curtain. The soft energy at your back that doesn't block the world but filters it. If you've ever wished your home felt a little less exposed, a little more held, especially in the unseen corners of your life, this may be the tree you've been missing. There's something instantly comforting about the way banana leaves move. They don't just grow, they breathe. Long, wide, and slightly curved, each leaf hangs like a piece of fabric in slow motion. It catches wind not to resist it, but to soften it. It doesn't try to stop the world from entering your space. It simply calms the energy before it gets in. That's what makes the banana tree so unique. It's not a wall. It's not a structure. It's not even a protector in the traditional sense. It's a buffer, a silent translator between the outside world and the energy of your home. That role may seem subtle, but it matters, especially for homes where the back is low, open, or constantly hit by wind. In those cases, energy doesn't just pass through, it rushes, it spins, and the people living inside often feel the effects without knowing why. Sleep is lighter, tempers rise faster, emotions feel more volatile. There's a lack of peace that has no name. The banana tree doesn't fix all of that, but it gives it somewhere to land. It holds the tension until it settles, and that alone can make all the difference. Unlike traditional trees with thick trunks and dense shade, banana trees bring a different kind of support, emotional, maternal, flexible. In many homes, especially in climates where life moves quickly and noise is constant, having a tree like this is less about decoration and more about restoration. When planted at the back of your house, especially near kitchen windows, patios, or back bedrooms, it acts like a green curtain, a soft shield that catches the chaos before it crosses your threshold. But don't let its softness fool you. The banana tree is strong. It grows quickly, adapts easily, and provides all-year greenery in most temperate zones. It's the quiet workhorse of the plant world. Always there, always absorbing, never asking for praise. That quiet loyalty makes it especially meaningful for people who often carry emotional labor in their homes. The ones who mediate arguments, balance family dynamics, take care of others without ever being asked. For those people, the banana tree is more than a plant. It's an ally. It also holds deep symbolism. In many traditions, banana trees are linked to nurturing, fertility, and balance. Their shape resembles open arms. Their clusters grow in gentle layers, and their ability to survive in tight spaces makes them ideal for urban homes or smaller backyards where space is limited, but energy still needs buffering. When placed with intention, even a small banana tree in a corner can shift the mood of a whole household, not by dominating it, but by softening its edges. There's also a quiet spiritual quality to this tree. It's not mystical, it's not magical, but it reminds us of something we've forgotten, the value of being gentle. In a world obsessed with hustle, assertiveness, and pushing through, the banana tree says, pause, rest, protect your peace. Not everything that enters your life deserves a response. Some things just need to be slowed, filtered, or simply released before they take root in your nervous system. And this tree helps you do that, not just with its physical presence, but with what it teaches. Its life cycle is one of letting go. Old leaves naturally fall away to make room for new growth. The plant divides, regenerates, shares its space. It doesn't cling, it flows. That pattern mirrors the kind of emotional intelligence we all strive for, knowing when to hold on and when to release, when to stand firm and when to yield. Placing a banana tree behind your house, especially if your space backs up to chaotic roads, low alleys, or overly exposed backyards, can change the feel of your entire home. It creates a space where emotions have a chance to slow down before they reach your heart, where family tensions don't escalate as quickly, where your thoughts, your mornings, even your meals begin to feel just a little softer, a little slower, a little more sacred. This isn't about aesthetics. It's about energetic hygiene. The banana tree absorbs excess yin energy, energy that feels cold, damp, or emotionally heavy. It's particularly effective in homes where grief has lingered too long, or where worry seems to live in the air. By simply being there, it creates a kind of spiritual draft stopper, blocking out what drains you and holding in what restores you. For best results, choose a compact variety like dwarf banana or sugar banana and give it just enough space to sway without overgrowing. Place it along a back fence, near a side gate, or behind a room that always seems to feel unsettled. Don't let the leaves overhang walkways or windows too densely. Light still needs to move, but let them move freely in the breeze. Their motion is part of their medicine. And most importantly, care for it gently. Keep its base clear. Prune dying leaves. Give it enough water, but never drown it. Like any relationship, it responds to presence, not perfection. And over time, it will become more than just greenery. It will become a symbol of the soft strength you've cultivated in your home. So if you're someone who's been holding too much, absorbing too much, feeling like the world presses against your back a little too hard, consider letting this tree hold a piece of that weight for you. Not as a fix, but as a filter. Not as a cure, but as a quiet companion reminding you that peace isn't passive, it's planted, it's grown, it's protected. Because sometimes the most powerful change you can make to your space isn't loud. It doesn't demand attention or applause. It just stands there, swaying in the wind, catching what you no longer need to carry and giving it back to the earth leaf by leaf. That's the work of the banana tree. Quiet, unseen, but unmistakably healing. Part 4, where and how you plant matters. Some people plant trees like they buy furniture, fast, decorative, convenient. But a tree is not an object, it's a presence. And when you invite one into the space around your home, especially the quiet, vulnerable space behind it, placement becomes everything. Not because of superstition, not because of rules, but because every inch of your home holds a story. And where you place a tree is a way of rewriting that story. Let's begin with something simple. Planting the right tree in the wrong place is like placing a chair in front of a locked door. It blocks possibility. No matter how beautiful the chair is, no matter how expensive, it's in the way. And the same goes for trees. When we plant without intention, we can unintentionally block energy, light, or the very flow of life we're trying to invite in. But when we plant with awareness, when we truly pay attention to the shape, the rhythm, the memory of a space, that tree becomes something else entirely. A keeper, a witness, a balancing force. So let's talk about where. The back of the house is not just leftover space. It's the energetic spine of your home. It's where energy settles. It's where family dynamics sit when no one's talking. It's where financial decisions either root or unravel. That's why this area matters more than people realize. A cluttered, overgrown, or dead space at the rear of your house is like an unresolved memory. It hangs there. It doesn't hurt you directly, but it doesn't let anything flow either. Before you plant anything, stand there. Not with a clipboard or checklist, but with your body. Feel it. Where does the wind come from? Which corner feels too quiet? Is there a spot that always feels emotionally flat or off balance? Where do shadows fall and stay too long? These are subtle cues, but they tell you exactly what your space is asking for. Because a home, like a body, knows where it's holding tension. And your job is to listen before you dig. Next, consider distance. Don't plant your tree too close to the house. Roots need room to grow. Energy needs room to circulate. A tree pressed against your foundation doesn't feel like support, it feels like pressure. Aim for a placement that allows the tree to be near you but not leaning on you. Just like a healthy relationship, it supports you best when it stands strong on its own. And think about balance, not symmetry, balance. If your yard is sloped more heavily on one side, plant on the lower side. If your back door feels exposed, soften it with green behind it, not directly in front of it, but in its line of influence. If a corner of your yard feels forgotten, place something alive there. Not as decor, but as a way of saying you matter too. Often the spot you overlook the most is the one holding the most emotional weight. Avoid sharp lines. Nature doesn't grow in straight lines. Let the shape of your planting reflect that. Cluster if you must, but leave breathing room. Let light pass between stalks or leaves. Allow air to move. Energy is like water. It doesn't settle in tight spaces. It gathers where it's invited gently, not forced. Then there's height. Too tall and it dominates. Too short and it gets lost. Look at your roof line. Think about your fence height. Let the tree meet the eye at a level that feels grounding, not overwhelming. Think of it not as a wall, but a shoulder. Something to lean on when things get heavy. Now let's talk rhythm. Don't just plant and walk away. Watch how the tree responds to its place. Is it leaning toward light, dropping leaves too soon, growing wildly in one direction? That's not just botany, it's communication. Trees reflect what they absorb. If your tree struggles, maybe the energy in that spot is struggling too. Tend to both. Keep your tree alive. That may sound obvious, but many people plant and forget. And a dying tree at your back is not just a landscaping issue, it's a spiritual message. It whispers of neglect, of lost connection, of support that has withered. Don't let that happen. Check the soil. Prune gently. Water when needed, but don't drown it. Think of the tree as an elder in your home, a quiet, dependable presence that deserves respect, not control. And if a tree must be removed, do it with care, with thanks, with pause, because even in its absence, a tree holds memory. If you cut it down in frustration, that emotion lingers. But if you remove it with intention, you create space for renewal, not resentment. There's also timing. The best time to plant a tree isn't just spring or fall, it's when you're ready to stay. When you want your life to root. When you're tired of running. When you want to begin again, not in a flashy way, but in a quiet, lasting way. That's when the soil responds. That's when the roots take. That's when your home says, I'm ready to hold this. And now let's talk about presence. After your tree is planted, don't ignore it. Visit it, talk to it, or simply sit near it without needing anything from it. Let it grow as you grow. Let it witness your life. When good things happen, let it feel that light. When things are hard, let it be a place where pain can pause. You may not believe a tree can do all this. That's okay. Belief isn't required. Presence is. And the truth is, when we tend to space with care, that care circles back to us. We build homes that don't just shelter our bodies, they start to hold our hearts. And sometimes that shift begins with one planting in one forgotten corner on one very ordinary day. So if you're wondering whether this matters, whether where and how you plant can really change anything, try it. Not for results, not for outcomes, just for resonance. Just to feel the difference between a space that's been seen and one that hasn't. And if your home exhales even a little when you do, you'll know. Because planting with intention isn't about getting more. It's about giving your life a place to root. And when you plant that way, consciously, quietly, consistently, your home doesn't just stand stronger. It finally starts to hold. Part 5, this is not a decoration, it's your home's guardian. We live in a world obsessed with appearances. Homes are staged, porches are curated, even backyards are dressed for photos. But some things, the most important things, aren't meant to be looked at. They're meant to be felt. And the trees you plant behind your house, especially with the intention to protect, aren't there to impress anyone. They're not decoration. They are guardians, silent ones, constant ones, present, even when you forget they are there. At first, this might sound sentimental, but think about it. What defines safety in a home? It's not the alarm system. It's not the doorbell camera. It's the feeling that you are held without needing to be alert all the time. That something in your space is watching the wind, catching the energy before it crashes into you. And for centuries, across countless cultures, people have planted trees for exactly that purpose. Not for shade, not for fruit, but for spiritual shelter, energetic grounding, quiet protection. When you plant a tree with intention, especially one meant to shield the back of your home, it becomes something more than a plant. It becomes part of the structure. It holds what you cannot hold. It filters what you don't need to carry. And even though it will never speak, never move toward you, never offer anything loud or visible, it will stay. In stillness, through seasons, through storms, through personal transitions that change the inside of your house but leave the tree untouched, still standing, still guarding. This is why planting the right tree in the right place is not a landscaping tip. It's an act of emotional intelligence, because your house may look beautiful, your lawn may be trimmed, but if the space behind you is empty, if the energy there is open, raw, or leaking, then everything you build up front becomes harder to hold, harder to keep. And most people never know why. They just feel it as fatigue, as stagnation, as money that doesn't stay, as peace that doesn't last. A guardian tree doesn't promise to fix your life, but it will change the way your space holds it. It creates a quiet perimeter, not to shut the world out, but to give your inner world time to settle before reacting to what's outside. That pause, that buffer, that's where clarity comes in. That's where restoration begins. That's where you reclaim the energy that was being pulled in too many directions. And here's something else to remember. This tree doesn't need to be large. It doesn't need to grow fast. It just needs to be consistent, present, healthy. It can be a grove of bamboo that stands like a living fence, a bay laurel that sharpens the air in your mind, a banana tree that sways like a prayer whispered through its leaves. What matters most is not its shape, but its function, to hold, to soften, to say to the world, this home is not wide open. This family is not unguarded. And when you care for your guardian tree, you're not gardening, you're maintaining a relationship. One that doesn't ask much, just attention, just intention. Because when the roots of a tree are healthy, the energy it holds is stable. And that stability spills into everything: your sleep, your focus, your patience, your ability to make decisions from a grounded place instead of a reactive one. Some people will never notice your tree. They'll visit your home and comment on the decor, paint color, the furniture, but they won't know why they feel safe there, why their nervous system settles within minutes of entering, why conversations flow easier, why your home feels like it remembers who it is, even when the rest of the world is constantly forgetting. That's not coincidence. That's a guardian at work. You might feel silly at first talking about a tree this way, but pause and think. How many things in your life have been protecting you without fanfare? Your own body, your breath, that quiet friend who never needs to be the center of attention but shows up every time. Protection doesn't always announce itself. Often it's what we overlook, until we realize we feel different when it's gone. That's the difference a tree can make. Not because it's magical, but because it's anchored. It doesn't scroll, it doesn't judge, it doesn't hurry. And when it's placed at the edge of your home, it gives your energy the same message: slow down, come back. You're not exposed here, you're not leaking here, you are being held. There is a sacredness to places that are protected. They don't need to be loud, they don't need to be perfect, but they hold something ancient, something primal, something that tells you this is a space where roots grow, not where things are constantly uprooted. And the more you live in that kind of space, the more your life begins to match its rhythm. Not rushed, not defensive, but steady, grounded, safe. So if you've been feeling off in your own home, like no matter how much you clean, arrange, or renovate, something still feels too open, too exposed, too unsettled, look outside. Look behind you. Look at the space behind your house and ask, is this place guarded? Is there something living here that holds this space for me? If not, maybe it's time. Time to plant something not for beauty, but for meaning. Not to show, but to shelter. Because when a tree is planted with love and placed with care, it doesn't just stand outside. It becomes part of the family, a quiet elder, a silent witness, a patient protector. And one day when you're in your kitchen and the wind blows a little too hard and the dog stirs and your shoulders tense without knowing why, you'll glance out the window, see those leaves moving gently, and remember, you're not alone. This house is not bare. It is watched over. It is rooted. And all of that began with one tree. Final, you've just spent time not with trees, but with what they represent. Support, clarity, protection. Not in the abstract, but in the physical, emotional, living sense. And maybe, somewhere along the way, something clicked. Maybe you saw your home differently, not just as a structure, but as a space that could hold you better. Maybe you recognized corners that feel too empty, or memories that hang in places that need softening. Or perhaps you simply felt something settle in your chest, the way truth does when it's finally given a place to land. This wasn't a guide about gardening. It was an invitation to come home differently, to feel the quiet power of a backyard that doesn't just exist, but anchors, a tree that doesn't just grow, but guards, a space that doesn't just hold furniture, but holds you. Because in a world that pushes us forward fast and always more, we forget to ask the simplest question: what's behind me? Who's got my back? Now you know the answer doesn't always come from people or plans or even effort. Sometimes it's rooted in the earth, grown through seasons, swaying quietly just outside your window. That's the message these trees bring. And each one offers a different kind of medicine. Bamboo protects what you're building. Bay laurel clears the noise from your thoughts. Banana tree softens what your spirit has carried too long. And how you plant them, where you place them, determines whether your home becomes just a shelter or a sanctuary. Thank you for staying with this story, for letting your mind open, for letting your heart remember that you, too, deserve to be supported, that your home isn't just something you maintain, it's something that can care for you in return. And if you choose to plant, know that you're not planting trees, you're planting presence, boundaries, hope, safety. So tonight, when the house is quiet and the lights go soft, I hope you look out back and see more than grass and fences. I hope you see potential. I hope you feel protected. I hope your home begins to exhale with you. Take care of your space and it will take care of you. Root down, rest easy. And remember, this is not decoration. This is devotion. This is not just a tree. This is your quiet guardian. And you are never as alone as you think. Thank you for being here. May your home hold you deeply. May your next chapter grow from solid ground.